Hello and welcome to another episode of Everything and Nothing. Welcome to my space. Welcome to this moment. Let's take a pause and let's take a break and let's talk about the next part of this mini series that I decided to create, which is the myth of work-life balance. And in the past episodes, I've been talking about, well, it started with literally the myth that I discovered, or that I identified as a myth of trying to find a balance between work and life as if they were two separate things, when in reality there is life and work happens to be part of it. And there's many beautiful things that are part of life: work, relationships, our health, our mental health, our physical health, our emotions, so many things. There's so much beauty. There's so many aspects. There's so many factors, so many areas that are just beautiful in this magical place called life. And what I keep wanting to invite you as a listener, people that I work with, is, and myself, is to find a balance in this beautiful, magical thing called life. And so today, I want to focus on the one part that feels rejected and punished, which is our humanity. And I've seen a lot of posts lately in the last 2 months, with a lot of things that are happening in the world, and people are sharing stuff like what's happening to humanity. In my opinion, what's happening to humanity is we've lost connection. We've lost the appreciation for our humanness, for those things that make us human. And there isn't a surprise. There is no surprise that we've lost that connection, or that many people are feeling so confused. Because for many, 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 many decades, people have been taught to feel ashamed for being too emotional, too messy, too distracting. So people have learned to um, put little compartments: work here, and my emotions at work cannot be seen, and my emotions at with a certain person cannot be shown. When in reality, when we have that balance within ourselves and we're mindful about who are we working with, where are we showing up, who are we sharing ourselves with, those people, those places, if they are the right ones for us, we don't need to fragment ourselves. We can just show up. The challenge here is who shows up, because people, again, have been feeling a lot of anxiety about showing up as they are. And right now, I feel in social media, when I open it up and I see the things that pop up, there's a lot of people that are just showing up as they are, and you see them in the reels and you see them in their stories, and they're being funny and they're being comical, and we embrace that because we're seeing the humor in life again. We're seeing the fun in life again. As human beings, we are designed to enjoy life, to laugh, to live. And it's why so many people are enjoying just scrolling. And the beauty of it is you don't have to live life through the scrolling. You don't have to live life through those other people that are showing up, dancing and singing and being silly and being themselves and having fun in life. You can actually have fun. You can actually embrace who you are. Or if you are the serious type of person, or if that's your vibe, you'd like to be quiet and just read, and your kind of humor is different, it's okay to be that too. The message here is embracing and loving your human side, embracing and loving your humanity, so that we can find that balance within. So, as always, I give you examples of what I mean with these things, with these words, with these expressions that I'm sharing with you. And the most basic one is, I always tell people, you are a leader to someone. There is always someone looking up to you, whether we like it or not, whether we believe it or not. Look around. You're looking up to someone. Therefore, someone is looking up to you, whether it's your children, your spouse, a friend of yours, a neighbor. If you don't have children, you have nieces and nephews. If you don't have nieces and nephews, I bet you there's some kind of friend of yours that has a child, and that child thinks like, man, that person is pretty cool. I want to be like that when I grow up. So I tell you this because we carry a responsibility. It's why the invitation is there, to show up and to be in balance, to love ourselves, like fully love ourselves. And to show up that way so that we can support others that are wanting to remember how to love their humanness, how to enjoy life fully. And it starts, I always say it, it starts with you. It starts with, how are you showing up? How are you loving your humanness? It's funny, if you're watching the video, I have this sweatshirt today that has a little a skeleton, and it says, be kind to your mind. It's a little skeleton holding a brain. And I think it's cute. I think it's adorable. Check out the check out the video on YouTube. You'll see it there. And the reason I'm laughing is, these are the kind of stuff, the kind of things that for many years it was frowned upon to show up wearing something to a meeting. It was frowned upon to laugh at a meeting, to joke. Of course, there are some jokes that are a little heavy and disrespectful. We don't want those kind of jokes. I'm talking about the silly stuff. But even then, like, people wanted fun, but they don't want, rightfully so, disrespectful jokes. But then they don't want silly either. So then where does the fun go? One of the when I started doing the innovation sessions, when I started facilitating those for competing organizations coming together and working as one of the first questions I got was, how are you going to make them? How are you going to get to them so that they actually work together when they're competitors? And I told them, we're going to get to the human part. We're going to connect as human beings. And people laughed. They would say, how are you going to do that? You know, these are executives, these are top managers, these are. And I said, we're all human. And there are some basic needs that as humans we have. And when we tend to those needs, and when we create a safe space for those needs to be met, our human side just expands and we become superhuman. We have this mindset, these beliefs, this feeling of, we can do anything, we can see anything, we can explore anything. And it goes back to when we were children. When we were children, before going to school or before having someone that yelled at us for being silly, or being, the word in Spanish is ocurrente. Ocurrente is someone that gets random ideas, like, where'd you, like, that doesn't even make sense. So right away you get frowned upon from the people listening to you by saying, what is that? That doesn't even make sense. In my space, when I create a space for people to come together, the first thing I tell them is, welcome home. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna play. We're gonna fail. We're gonna do this together. And it's gonna feel amazing, and it's gonna feel uncomfortable, and it's gonna feel scary, and it's gonna feel yucky, and it's gonna feel ugh. And yes, I use all those specific words. By using all those words, I am actually telling people, or connecting with people in a way that communicates with them. A feeling, a sound, a visualization of what that's gonna look like. And when we when we remember that all of those things are part of our humanness, and we embrace it, and we bring it out on purpose, it becomes easier to navigate through those things. It becomes easier to move through them, to move through the fear, the uncomfortableness. And the whole point of it is, that is also part of us. Everyone wants the genius. Everybody's looking for the great idea, the solution, the quick fix, the perfection. But nobody wants to, or very few people are willing to move through the uncomfortableness that it's needed to get to all of those powerful things. Very few people, very few people are willing to step willingly through the fear and feel the fear all the way to their bones, feel the fear all the way to the tip of their fingers, to every cell in their body, to actually understand where that fear is coming from. Is it realistic? Does it make sense? What do I do with this? What is it telling me? Very few people sit with the discomfort. Very, very few people. The ones that do are the ones that are mostly living life fully, the ones that are mostly thriving, the ones that are mostly supporting, living their purpose. We just have to move through that. And yes, 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 we have to. We have to. If you want that, we have to do it that way. There is no magic pill. There is no tutorial. There is no, you know, thing that exists out there on any social media platform that's going to give you the quick fix for it. There isn't. There are blueprints, there are pathways, there's ideas, there's suggestions. And at the end of the day, you still have to be the one choosing to move through that, choosing to love all of that yuckiness that you consider yucky, which in reality, it isn't really yucky. It's just a part of who we are. So I'll give you some examples of what I'm talking about, um, especially as a woman. Whoa, here we go. But it's true, especially as a woman. And I can tell you that because I'm a woman and I've experienced a lot of situations where I got judged, I got reprimanded, I got negative words coming my way because of who I am. Now, my essence, I'm all about love. I'll just say it. I believe that we come from two places, love or fear. And those are the two things that we're functioning from. And I read this somewhere. I just can't remember where or I've heard, of course I've heard it from many people because the communities that I'm part of, the coaches that I work with, like my coaches, the ones that I hire to support me, to help me through my uncomfortableness, through my fear, function on love. It's either love for what they do, love for themselves, love for helping humanity, love for supporting others in their journey. So that's the kind of love I'm talking about. It's not just the romantic love, although I am romantically in love with myself. I say that to a lot of people. I think I'm beautiful. I think I'm amazing. Have I always thought this way? No. It took a while for me to get to where I am. But I do. I have this amazing relationship with myself, and I love the quirkiness in me. I'm usually quite funny when I work in groups to support the environment and the vibe and the setting of the room to loosen up and flow with much more ease. So I always tell people I'm like this failed stand-up comedian because I like to tell jokes, but I don't think they're actually that funny. But in my head, they're hilarious. Like when I say them in my head, I'm like, oh my God, that's hilarious. Say it. And when I say it out loud, I either get weird looks like, or I get some people that are like, okay, well, that was funny. And I'm like, I know, right? But my point is, those are the things that make me who I am. Those are the things that I love about me now. Growing up in Mexico, having gone to a Catholic school, everything was very strict. Everything was very, there was a certain way. We all dressed the same. We wore a uniform. Our hair had to be done in either two ways, up or half up. It wasn't really down. Even how we tied our hair, everything was uniformed. You could only use ribbons, and it could only be this specific kind of ribbon or this specific color. And it had to match your uniform. Your socks had to be a certain way, a certain length. Everything was so constricted and so boxed in. And I remember, I enjoyed it. It's what I knew. I'm thinking, well, this is my life. This is how we live life. I also remember asking questions about why certain things had to be a certain way. And I remember getting smacked, by the nun for asking because I wasn't supposed to ask. I was supposed to just be quiet. When I moved to the US and everything shifted and I started going to public school and now there's boys in there and that was uncomfortable for me because I was going to school with a bunch of girls. Now it's boys are in there. Ew. I didn't want boys around. Now it became painful to have to get dressed every day because now I get to choose what to wear. I wasn't used to choosing what to wear. I was used to being told what to wear. So I remember those moments at such a young age. I was feeling uncomfortable in my own skin. I was feeling uncomfortable in the place that I was in. And I'm telling you this because these things impact how we experience life as adults. And many of us know that. I know that. You know that. You hear it. Everyone's talking about it. So, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? When are we going to choose to embrace that human side? When are we going to choose to take time to reflect on our journey, how we got here, and what are the things that need attention so that we can move through them with ease, with grace, with love, with compassion, like really compassion, and really look at these things for what they are so that we can really, really step into this amazing life that is just waiting for us. So, back to my story. So, there I was having to adjust, going from one programming to another programming, because that's really what it is. Um, as a human being, here I am wanting to learn how to live life, listening to adults that are supposed to be guiding me. And some adults have these rules, and now these adults have these other rules. And I'm just trying to do my best to survive. So as I move, I'm actually also learning what I like and what I don't like. And I'm just looking for a place where I can express myself and say, I don't like this. I don't feel comfortable with this. This isn't my thing. But when we're children, we don't, many of us, I'm sure there's some children, and I have friends that have kids right now, and they are amazing parents, in my opinion, because they give the children space for them to express themselves in a safe way, not in an imposing, this is what I think you should believe. Oh, by the way, here's more options. That no, 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 no. Just natural or like pure, kind ways that allows the child to express themselves, not forcing beliefs or forcing, you know, trends or forcing things on the human, like literally listening to the human. And I think it's beautiful. Many of us didn't have that growing up. Many of us had, these are my rules, this is my house, this is my school, this is my place. Rightfully so. When we got to the workplace, it stayed the same. This is how you're expected to behave. What's your title? How long have you been working? And based on that and your experience, that we're going to tell you what you're worth. So as a woman, which is what I was getting at, because of this is who I am. I like to express myself. It's why I created Everything and Nothing and Entre Todo y Nada, the Spanish version of it. And it's why I show up in my platform. So I have a space. So I have a place where I can express myself. And if people want to listen, they're welcome to. Of course, you're welcome to. There's a purpose, there's a sharing out there. And I get to show up exactly as I am. And I get to show up how I want to show up. If one day I want to show up being very serious and quiet and almost crying because I'm telling you a story about most likely my animals, I get to do that. And if another day I show up being all comical, joking around with a friend or with a person I invite, I get to do that. And that's my space. And that's my space that I'm claiming. And that's the space where I am allowing myself to be, my voice to be heard, my voice to be expressed. And when I express it, I get to hear it. So all of these things are the things that I love about myself. The fact that I can bring people into my space and tell them, welcome to my space, welcome to my sandbox. This is how we're going to play. Oh, and by the way, in a couple of hours, we're going to dance. And yes, we did dance. And those are the moments that in some places, some people were so not used to that, were so uncomfortable with their human side that they would judge my style of facilitating, they would judge my style of coaching to the point that I would get labeled as she's a little messy, she's a little out there, she's a little different. And when they would say those things to me, I would tell them, no, that's not what I am. I'm working with humans. I'm bringing out the human side of everyone so that we can find solutions to these challenges. And when I would say it like that, some people would say, oh, now she's a little too emotional. It's so annoying. It's so annoying to hear that. And I'm saying that as a woman, but I'm pretty sure there's other people out there who have been told that before just because they're comfortable with expressing their feelings. And then right away we get shut down. Ooh, you're getting emotional now. And I'm thinking, no, I'm not getting emotional. I'm expressing something. This is just the way I express. However, if that judgment began earlier in our age, especially like at school or when we were teenagers and we got bullied for it, oh man, then we're really in trouble because now we grew up with this mentality of I'm too loud, I'm too aggressive, I'm too emotional, um, I'm too crazy, I'm too wild, I'm too this, I'm too that, blah, blah, blah. And we become ashamed. We become ashamed of the beautiful things that we have within us. And yes, even when we're cranky, that is still beautiful. It's another way of expressing something. It's another emotion that helps us understand what we're feeling, that helps us understand something is off. Anger, too. When it's not managed in a good way, when it's not managed in a respectful way, it becomes aggressive and it becomes angrier and it becomes abusive at times. And that's what we want to avoid. So when people are saying what's happening to humanity, I'm thinking, well, we've been ignoring it for so long. Some people just take it to an extreme when we don't have to take it to an extreme. It's designed to be in balance. It's designed to be aware that these two things exist, the love and the fear, the compassion and the anger, the harmony and the rage, the shame and the joy. It's all part of our humanness. It's all part of this human that we are. And I genuinely believe part of our purpose, part of our experience here is to learn how to walk in balance with those things. I mean, we created all of this. Everything that we are experiencing right now, we have contributed in one way or another. We're part of this co-creation. And one of the things that we can totally stop doing is fragmenting ourselves. I have to be this way at home and I have to be this way at work. How about just be in such a balanced way that you can be yourself both at work and at home? How about being honest in such a way that you can just have a healthy relationship with this friend and that friend? You need to like focus on you, how they're feeling, how they're reacting, how they're expressing, how they're having their opinions of you. That's really their thing. That's for them to sort out. And you cannot sort it out for them. As a coach, I know that. As a coach, I'm so grateful and I'm so blessed that I have this ability to sit with a client, sit with a group and listen. Listen transparently and presently to everything they say. And when they walk away, I know they're okay. I don't have to fix it. I don't have to fix. There's nothing to fix. And I'm grateful that throughout all these years that I've worked as a coach in different areas, in different countries, with different groups, with different nationalities, genders, I have maintained that balance within myself. It's why I love to do what I love to do, is why I created this space for me. Because this is a space where I remind myself how to stay in balance. I do this as part of my life, part of my experiencing, part of my humanness. And I invite you to reflect on what are the parts of you that maybe you've been feeling ashamed, maybe you've been feeling scared of, maybe you've been feeling uncomfortable with, and bring them out. Find a safe place, find a safe space, a safe place, find a safe person. I'm always telling people I'm here for you. And I'm grateful for the people that have come up and send me their messages. Usually it's email or direct message, and they'll send me something, and we just jump on a quick call and we just talk, just to experience what does that feel like? What does that feel like to share a moment in a space in a conversation with someone that is willing to listen without judgment, without wanting to fix me, without wanting to make it better for me? What does that look like? And and I invite people, you know, the I invite people to sit with the uncomfortableness. Do something uncomfortable. Start little. Don't go all extreme on me because it's not safe. Do something small. Some of the things that I invite people to do that have worked for me, and now it's winter here in Canada where I live, um, and snow is here. One of the things that I'm preparing to gear is my cold plunging again. I love in the winter times to have a container where I put water because the temperatures drop so naturally low. It freezes, and I cold plunge just about every day. I cold plunge every day that I feel like I want to do it. I skip the days where either I don't feel like it or something feels off. But it's usually, 4 to 5 days, 4 to 5 times a week, I'll be plunging in there. I do it in the winter because I live in a place where the water can freeze. I don't have to use electricity. I don't have to use anything else. I'm working with the elements, and it feels good for me, and I enjoy it. I usually just do the minimum that you need, which is 2 minutes. Every now and then I'll feel a little like, oh, I think I want to stay a bit longer, and it'll go for a few more minutes, maybe, 4 or 5 minutes. And it's amazing and it's beautiful. And that's something that I do that is uncomfortable, and I choose to do it anyway to help me stay balanced, to help me with it's got a lot of benefits. You can read all about them. But the reason I do it is to help me stay balanced and to help me remember, to help me remember that I can do this, to help me remember that I love the feeling of right before I get in. There are some days where it's like, I don't think I can do this. Oh, it's going to be cold. And then I do it anyway. And it's safe and it's good. And it helps me solidify my relationship with myself, with my fear, with my uncomfortableness. And when I come out feeling all happy and joyful, it helps me solidify my relationship with my joy, my bravery, my courage, my celebration, my quirkiness, because usually I'll have some music in the background and I'll be dancing because I'm all happy. And it's okay to be that. And it's okay to feel all those things. And it's okay to experience that. And then it makes it easier to show up this way anywhere I go and just be myself. There's no stress, no anxiety about pretending to be someone else. There's no stress, no anxiety about I need to speak a certain way, I need to show up a certain way, I need to dress a certain way, and just be from a place of balance. Now, am I perfect? No. No, there are days where I wake up, this week, for example, I've been stressed. This week I've been stressed because one of my cats started throwing up. And I am attentive to my animals. I pay attention to what they're feeling and how they're doing. And I worried, and he was not everything he ate, he would just vomit and vomit and vomit and vomit. And it was bad. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong. So I had to take him to the vet, and they were telling me, we have to do x-rays, and, potentially something got stuck. So now I'm trying to remember, what did he eat? What could he have gotten into? And it scares me. At the second visit at the vet, I nearly started crying because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him, and he looked so sad, and he wasn't himself. And then I started thinking about, what if this is it? What if something's really wrong with him? And I wasn't going there from a place of negativity and looking at the dark side. I was going there because that is a possibility. And if that happens, how am I going to manage that? How do I feel about that? And then I felt sadness, and then I felt scared, and then I realized why I was feeling those things, and I embraced those things, and I could breathe through those things, and I went back to my balanced self and continued the journey. Thankfully, he it seems like he ate something from the sink or drank some water from the sink, and he had soap. I think that's what irritated his stomach. But thankfully, he's fine again. He's happy again. But during those days, my time at work was limited. My time at my desk was limited. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the things that change. I'm okay with the things that show up in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week, in the middle of the year, that are just different than what I thought was going to be. And I'm grateful that I have created, I talk about this all the time. I've designed a life that works for me, that feels good. The clients that I work with, the people I communicate with, the relationships I have in my life, the friendships I have in my life, the relationship I have with my animals, the relationship I have with this land, with this house, with my landlord. And I do that. I feel it makes it easier for me to enjoy all of that because of how I have come to a place where I embrace the humanity of it all. In my opinion, when you allow yourself to be human, when we allow ourselves to be human, something shifts. It just does. You stop performing. You stop pretending to be something else. You stop judging. You listen more deeply. You lead with presence instead of control. And I'm talking about, again, we are a leader in to someone. There's someone looking up to us. You're a leader at home. You lead your home. You're leading your life. So when we do that, we lead with presence instead of control. We lead with with joy instead of resentment. You create from honesty instead of fear because you understand and you know, and it's beautiful. And it starts with you. It literally does. This episode is really an invitation to soften up, to open up, to embrace the human, your humanness, what we consider as a shameful thing. Embrace the emotions. Embrace that you can feel. Embrace that you can fail. Embrace that you are curious enough to try. Embrace that you are brave enough to try. Some people would say you're just stupid. How about we change it around and we say I'm brave? Embrace that you've made some silly, stupid decisions in the past and you learned. And some of them were really bad and they were hilarious. I have a scar on my nose. I broke my nose 2 or 3 years ago. And when people ask me what happened, I would tell them I made a learning decision and I had a learning experience. To this day, I still don't call that decision stupid. And it had a mix of everything. And I loved that I allowed myself to experience that. Will I do it again? No. But that's the beauty of embracing and loving the human part. Learning, learning. Just be yourself. And to be yourself, that's the part that no one likes to hear. You have to explore who you are. Who you are right now could potentially be the result of everybody's expectations. Who you are right now could potentially be the result of your fears. So it's an invitation to soften up so that you can go in and explore and reflect and get to know yourself. Who are you authentically? Who are you in love with all of your humanness? The beauty, the genius, the joy, the laughter, the harmony. the peace, as well as the rage, the anger, the fears, the frustration, the tiredness. Mm, something magical happens when we allow ourselves to be human. I leave you with that. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, rest of your moment. Keep reaching out, keep sharing, keep showing up, keep falling in love, keep being, keep living. Life was designed to be lived. So let's do that. So with that, as I always say, until next time.